Women's MMA is gaining hype every year and becoming more and more significant and interesting to the general public. New divisions open, bright stars are born, and dominant champions such as Amanda Nunes emerge. Today we'll go back far and remember the very first female fighter who was considered the face of female MMA even before the appearance of Ronda Rousey. Her name is Gina Carano, nicknamed Conviction, and at her time she made a rumble in the cage and on the covers of Maxim magazine.
Oh my!
Gina was born in Dallas, Texas in the family of a professional football player, Glenn Carano. She graduated from Christian school and was a member of the basketball team, with which she won the title of the state. She began her career as a fighter with Muay Thai through her boyfriend Kevin Ross. Gina was looking for a way to lose weight as she suffered from excess one, and Kevin brought her to the gym where she found herself and really rushed into training. In 3 years she had 14 pro fights, 12 of which she won, 1 lost and 1 ended in a draw. Her good skills and good luck attracted the attention of MMA promoters, and in 2006 Gina competed with a World Extreme Combat in the first official women's fight in Nevada, and her rival was another promising athlete, Leticia Pestova. Leticia from the very beginning of the round was very loaded for a takedown. An excellent sprawl from Carano, and then the fight goes to the ground, while Gina finds herself in full mount. Full domination and a finish from Carano, and the sentence was carried out in 38 seconds of the first round. 2 months after her first victory, Gina again entered the cage, and her rival was the writer, musician and mathematician from Manchester, Rosie Sexton, going on a series of 5 victories in a row.
They're both ready to go. Here we go, round 1.
Rosie, being the delegate of Jiu-Jitsu from the very beginning of the battle, tried with all her might to move the fight to the canvas, but Gina had a good takedown defense which she mixed up with good combinations, and it all looked like girls were from different divisions.
Oh! Sexton better let those hands go.
In the second round, Rosie's beating didn't end. She just took everything that flew in her direction and still hoped only for a takedown, since she had no chance in striking.
Oh! It's a big rise.
For Rosie, it was all over at the end of the second round. Powerful throw from Carano and the fight was over. Gina, without too much trouble, sentenced the second victim in a row, and soon went to the promotion. When moving to Strikeforce, she became the first female fighter to compete in this organization, and her rival was Elena Maxwell, representing Cesar Gracie's team. At the same time, the organization's affairs were not going great, and their battles were not even shown on public TV. For the girls, this was already the second fight, since they had already met in Muay Thai duel, which Carano won. In the third round, Gina was trapped when Elena closed the triangle and being on top shot her opponent with punches, but Carano managed to change the game upside down literally, and once in a mount until the very end of the round she didn't release her opponent, and only the gong didn't allow her to finish Elena. So this fight ended with a unanimous decision of the judges for Carano. 2 months later, Gina received an invitation to another now deceased organization, EliteXC Combat, and fought against Julie Cagey, who was Greg Jackson's personal assistant from the well-known Jackson Wing Gym, where John Jones trains. And this fight was the first women's fight which was broadcasted on Showtime, so Gina was the first in this too. The girls behaved extremely aggressively and tried their best to knock out each other during all 3 rounds, but nevertheless the fight reached the decision of the judges.
Clock at night, she was training.
Oh, and there's a right hand that drops Kelsey. Sorry, Jay, but this fight.
Once Gina put Julie on her ass with good overhand, but failed to put the pressure on and finish her opponent. So Carano won the fight by unanimous decision for the second time in a row, while the girls earned a bonus for the fight of the evening.
We're here in Utopia, Honolulu, Hawaii, with beautiful sights at every turn, as EliteXC proudly presents Uprising.
Carano's next stop was a bout with the current UFC fighter Tonya Evinger, who had a 5-1 record at that time. And this fight, Tony did all the same as all the previous Gina's rivals. She tried to move the fight onto the canvas since she had an advantage there because of her wrestling past.
Carano even before the entrance. Good sweep by Carano here. And we'll see how much energy she's expended, popping her head out.
Guillotine from Avenger failed and she lost position. Gina climbs behind her back and performs a chokehold, finishing her opponent, which greatly surprises the experts, who gave great preference to Avenger on the ground. On May 31st, 2008, Carano entered the fight against hook and shoot champion Caitlin Young, but failed the weigh-in and gave 20% of the fee to her opponent. As for Caitlin, she beat Miesha Tate at one time and had a good Muay Thai base, so the audience expected a bright spectacle in a stance. The fight took place on a collision course, with the advantage of Gina, who, controlling the distance with the fronts, regularly launched the right overhand, and it became a big problem for Caitlin. At the end of the second, Gina put the pedal to the floor. She made a powerful combo and then shook her opponent with a jab, and at the end of the round almost finished with a choke. Caitlin reached the gong, but after examining, the fight was stopped due to a large cut under her left eye. Thus another victory for Gina Carano, already number 6, but the fact that she couldn't fit into the weight forced the organization to create a new division, 140 pounds for Gina to compete in.
Gina Carano weighs in at 143 pounds.
Well, that means she's in shape. Both of them. Look at Cris Cyborg.
Then there was another decision win over Kelly Cobbold and a return to Strikeforce to play the first women's featherweight title, while in the opposite corner famous Cris Cyborg awaited her, going on a 7-1 record and destroying everyone in her path.
Carano, a big time punch.
Cyborg started the fight very aggressively and pressing Gina to the net transferred her to the ground, then tried to end the fight with a heel hook, but Gina managed to free her leg. Carano had never met such power and pressure that Cyborg offered her, unleashing a real hurricane of strikes to her opponent and not letting her know what was happening. At the end of the first round, literally on the bell itself, the referee stopped the fight and Gina suffered her first career defeat. Cris Cyborg became the first female Strikeforce champion and earned $30,000, while Gina by that time had received a record of $100K for a woman, and this fight was the last for her career. Right after this defeat, Gina was invited to one of the main roles in the movie Haywire. Her career changed direction very dramatically. The need to fight completely disappeared and she began to be regularly invited to big movies. She starred in such as Deadpool, Heist, Kickboxer, Furious 6 and so on. And she had affairs with Hollywood stars, for example with Superman Henry Cavill. She was invited to TV programs and various talk shows, and in 2009, Maxim magazine included her in the 100 hottest sportswomen in the world, and she even appeared in the computer game Red Alert 3 as a sniper Natasha Volkova. Despite the conquest of Hollywood, Gina wanted to return to the fights, but this never happened, and Dana White was trying to organize her fight against UFC star Ronda Rousey, but contract negotiations hesitated and this fight never took place. So thanks to MMA, Gina was noticed and she made her way to Hollywood, and thanks to Gina, women's MMA received its first queen and a good push for future development. At the same time, without even performing for 10 years, she still remains in the top of the most beautiful female fighters in the history of MMA. Well my friends, that's it for today. If you liked the video, put the likes and subscribe to the channel. Watch other videos on the channel in anticipation of new ones.